Let's welcome now Marc Lapidus. He's Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Amidio. Thank you for being here right from London. Let us know, tell us, Amidio has decided to become a partner to Aura Aero. Why are you so interested in ERA?
It's exciting, a new project, and we see it as potentially very successful and obviously financially rewarding. And I think that if Aura can deliver the aircraft that Guinola showed us in terms of specs, it will be very successful and very disruptive aircraft. Now, I brought with me some notes I made this morning because, to make this point more clear, I think I have to explain to you why the conventional logic as to the overtime reduction in regional traffic and commuter traffic, and why people think that smaller airliner is not, profitable inherently, is potentially wrong here. So bear with me as I go through it.
Go ahead.
And try not to forget anything. We look at this from utilitarian financial point of view, and when you're an operator of an aircraft, one of our customers that we as a lessor would provide the aircraft to, we have to look at 5 factors that impact on aircraft's efficiency, and that is the stuff that Mattia was talking about, and that is energy cost, maintenance cost. Third one would be crewing costs, and the fourth factor would be cost of utilizing airspace and airports. And the fifth factor would be our bit, the ownership cost, how much we would charge in rent for the aircraft. It's been somewhat clear that across all of this, except perhaps the ownership cost, the larger planes have been developing and getting more and more cost efficient versus small aircraft. And the fact that there was more regional traffic 30 years ago than it is now demonstrates that to be true. And the conventional wisdom would say that it's not plausible or possible to get a small airliner to be cost efficient and make a difference. So, in that sense, looking at the energy cost, we have drilled Mattia on the induced and parasitic drag and the comparing energy efficiencies of this hybrid electric system with conventional, very efficient turbine engines. And we believe that Aura can deliver an aircraft that will be at least comparable or better than what possible to achieve with conventional turbine aircraft. The improved fuel economics, I think, will occur. And of course, we have this additional factor of CO2 reductions that something I'll cover in a second, a little bit more. So traveling at distance requires to travel at altitude. We think Aura can achieve it. At speed, 300 knots, would allow you to get from London, where I came from, to France or south of France in less than 2 hours. And that's something that gives us comfort. I mean, talking about this ability to develop this, we feel comfortable that Aura can deliver it. And the fact that they have built a small 2-seater Integral is also telling us that these guys are the competent people, as well as their experience in prior work. Then if I move on to other elements that this design throws off that deal specifically with those cost factors. Guinola described about maintenance. The electric propulsion and fly-by-wire allows, people know that Tesla doesn't have anything to look under the hood. So electric propulsion means it is very likely that it will be achieved, that maintenance costs will be far less than in conventional aircraft. We look forward to that. The crewing costs are also directly connected to the design of this aircraft. Again, Aura is unique at building an aircraft this size with the fly-by-wire technology, which then allows for envelope protection in terms of how aircraft can be operated, avionics that allow a pilot to push a button called auto-land, and the plane lands itself even if nobody is connected to it in those circumstances. So we're extremely comfortable that there will be an approval to operate this plane commercially with a single pilot, and in case of cargo, without a pilot. That is a significant reduction in costs versus conventional regional aircraft of that size. In terms of then looking at the other factor I mentioned, which is airports and air traffic control. Again, the throw-off from the design of the aircraft, this dispersive propulsion, means that, as Gunilla said, the aircraft can fly slow around airports. It can land at short airfields, it can take off from short airfields. That means that number of airports available to you to run commercial operations significantly increases everywhere. And there will be places all over the world to which you cannot fly with any kind of aircraft of this size that now will become possible. That is significant deal to it. But in terms of costs relating to airport operations, and we know from the Ryanair model, they go to all these small airfields, not small by our standards for this aircraft, but small for comparing it to Paris or London major airports. And they go there because they pay less in charges. So by going to many airports that you can go to, which are 800-meter airfields, you will not end up paying the same kind of charges as trying to land in Heathrow, where it's going to be practically impossible to make things work. So the larger amount of airfields you can operate from, at the reduced costs for crewing, reduced costs for maintenance, also change the dynamics of how you can operate the aircraft. And you can start going point to point in a way that is simply not done now. And that point-to-point travel can be done with the comfort of going to a small airport, having more executive experience for passengers. That is very special. You will not need to arrive to your major airport 2 hours before. You will be able to arrive 20 minutes before, depart, and get somewhere also probably very convenient and close to where your destination is. And that is the disruptive element that we see this aircraft potentially bringing into equation, and then bringing it on the basis of cost elements, all those 4 cost elements I talked about, which is the fuel burn equivalent, the energy to propel the aircraft, the maintenance costs, the crewing costs, and lower airport costs, which are different from anything that had been done before. And these other things are not challenging in terms of you having to be a physicist or an engineer to understand them. You can understand that if you go to smaller airfields, you're going to pay less charges. You can understand that electric motor requires less maintenance than the turbine. So those things, our investors can understand. We can explain it to them. This is what makes it exciting for us in terms of working with Aura on this project, and we look forward to making a huge success out of it with them.
Thank you so much, Monsieur Lapidus. Thank you very much. Gwen, maybe it's time to focus now on the passenger market.
Yes, happy to.
Yes.
Yeah, really, ERA, what we see from the discussion with our customers, that ERA is very interesting aircraft to give access to region, and it's ideal for region-to-region flight, point-to-point, secondary airport to secondary airport, or secondary airport to hubs. And we have lots of discussions with our customers on this specific route, which means that this is a completely different network that we can develop with ERA. Speaking about customers, we count, and we're very happy to have amongst our customer Republic Airways. Republic is the second largest regional airline in the US. They operate for major airlines, a fleet of E-jets, but they are the owner of Cape Air, and Cape Air is an operator which owns around 9-seater aircraft. And then we had the visit of Brian Bedford, our CEO, 10 days ago, and he wanted to pass on a message during his visit.
Okay, let's watch it.
We're particularly interested in the hybrid electric model because we think that one has the greatest potential of actually coming to market and something that might be commercially viable. So, we're very interested to learn about the ERA aircraft and get to know the team here at Aura. Our hope would be that we could partner with you as we conceptualize and ultimately reach a design point finalization. Not that we have to understand necessarily the vendors that you'll choose to operate, but certainly making sure we're communicating transparently our end-use business case for the product and something that we believe could ultimately be commercially viable.
All right, so that's the passenger market. A word on the cargo market now?
That is as well a very important market for us. We're going to develop an ERA freighter version. And why is that? Because we see there is really demand for that type of aircraft. It comes from the booming of the e-commerce and this new normal within the freighter business to bring any parcels at your door in 24 hours. And then the cargo and logistic companies are much interested in that type of module because then they can achieve that sort of commitment. Another important point is that ERA is a single pilot. Then again, it's all about operational cost for a freighter, and the cabin is large. This means that you can load up to 21.5 cubic meters of freight, which is a lot for a commuter. And it can be pallets or it can be bulk. So very convenient aircraft for freight transport. Maybe.
Yeah, so another key market for ERA is, of course, the business market.
It is. And for this one, Michel Collomb, who is one of our long-term customers, one of the first one who came and started working with us on ERA, on the configuration. Michel Collomb, who is the CEO of Elitavia, wanted to be here today, couldn't be. But he runs a company that is set up in 2006. Elitavia is really the European leader on business jet operation, and he managed as well a big fleet of transcontinental, very modern jet. But he's been from day one with us, and they've seen a very big interest into the aircraft. And he couldn't be here, but he nevertheless wanted to pass a message as well on to us.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Michel Collomb from Elitavia Group. I must apologize for not being with you today in Toulouse, but I'm sending a short video. Elitavia Group is a precursor in sustainability and decarbonization since we have decided to partner since 2022 with our partner Azera to zero out our impact and understand our greenhouse gas inventory. We decided to go to the next level with ERA Group and purchase 28 ERA aircraft, which is in line with our vision to be part of carbon neutrality. ERA Group has proven the seriousness of this project with the right actors and approaches to our new and inevitable future. Our core business is business aviation, and we had to approach our client to understand and see how they would react to such a project. And the answer came as a surprise, as 100% of them have reacted very positively. Even if they are the owner of large business jet, they know and understand that they have to reduce their footprint for all the flights between 1 to 3 hours. This is our vision to pay respect to our planet and our engagement towards ERA Group.
One last market is the special mission market.
Yes, and this is where we really see the multi-mission aspect of ERA, because then we've been discussing and working a lot with some of our customers on different missions like medical evacuation, then the installation of stretchers into the aircraft, but even some military usage of the aircraft, Coast Guard and surveillance can be one of the usage of the aircraft, for which we see really a big market as well. Lastly, I'd like to share with you this picture with the logos and name of our main customers. Some of us are joined really recently, like the American ones, Republic Airways, Commuter, and Alpine. We've been working with them on really fine-tuning the the configuration of ERA. Amidio, of course, our lessor customer, and Elitavia has been with us for a bit longer period. What is interesting in that picture, that we see that ERA as a global market, because our customers are everywhere in the world. And not